KBND, depend on us.
11:10 KBND Radio News time is 5:05, and a very good Thursday afternoon. I'm Dave Adams. In news, Bend fire investigators say a 4-year-old playing with a butane lighter was the source of a Wednesday morning blaze that destroyed a 92-year-old home in the city.
He was basically playing with it. It caught some adjacent furnishing, a bed, on fire.
And fire investigator Larry Medina says the home did not have any working smoke alarms. Firefighters were also concerned because 2 of the 4 adults in the home re-entered the structure to find a juvenile member they thought was still inside. They were quickly overcome by smoke, but luckily managed to escape. The missing youngster was later found outside the home, and he was safe. 2 nearby homes were damaged by the intense heat of yesterday's fire, 7:43 a.m. Well, neighbors of that home are questioning why it took the city fire department 9 minutes to get to the scene. Neighbors, the media, even the KBND traffic helicopter were already there when the fire trucks arrived. Fire Inspector Larry Medina says it's simply a matter of limited resources. He adds that the fire department handles medical and fire calls, and 3 fire crew members staff each individual fire station. Now, if they're answering another call, the nearest station to a fire call with available personnel might be across town. Medina says with the city's budget situation, that is not likely to change. Medina says the department will do everything it can to respond as quickly as possible, but his advice is to be very careful with anything that can start a fire. Speaking of fires, it's been a couple of weeks since the ODOT Tech Center blaze in Bend, but the fire really hasn't interrupted work that much. ODOT spokesman Peter Murphy says they're moving into a trailer on the property while the building is being rebuilt.
It's a little crowded. They're in a conference room, but we're bringing in a trailer so that we'll have more space. You know, in our business, of course, we build up paper and documents and that kind of thing. So working out of the conference room is not ideal. So we're going to bring in the trailer, and there'll be more space, and that'll work for everyone. So we didn't really lose much.
Bend police arrested a man staying at the Bethlehem Inn for setting the fire. 20-year-old Preston Berman is charged with arson and burglary. Bend City Council has okayed the next step for the Murphy Road overcrossing of the Bend Parkway during last night's City Council meeting.
What city staff was requesting the council to do is authorize the city manager to sign an intergovernmental agreement with the Oregon Department of Transportation for design services and project management services. This is a project that came out of the last Oregon legislative session.
City of Bend Transportation Manager Nick Arness says the $25 million project will create at least 100 jobs and is slated for construction in 2012 or 2013. Now, the funding comes from increases in your vehicle registration fees. He says this bridge over the parkway is critical to reduce congestion on the Bend Parkway. After last night's council meeting in Bend as well, there seems to be a split vote among council members on how to proceed on the issue of downtown parking. A vote by the council to discourage downtown employees from abusing free parking privileges was passed, but only after a provision for increased parking fines was removed. Some people feel those increased fines are the best way to keep downtown employees from moving their vehicles around every 2 hours to take advantage of that free parking. But City Council agreed with many downtown merchants who strongly objected to increasing fines, fearing it will discourage shoppers from going downtown. City will continue to discuss and investigate this issue. City of Bend now has 7 dog parks, growing from just a year ago. The off-leash areas inside those parks proving to be very popular with area residents. In fact, dog parks across Oregon are very popular right now. Executive Director Don Horton was on the KBND Morning Show this morning.
We also use the city of Portland kind of as our guide. Portland has more dog parks than any city in the nation. And now Bend has more dog parks per capita than any city in the nation because of the 7 that we've been able to develop. And one of our goals was that we really wanted the dog parks to be dispersed pretty evenly throughout the community so that people didn't have to drive too far to get to the dog park. And hopefully a lot of people can walk to some of these dog parks.
And Parks and Rec will be holding public hearings to discuss rule changes for those dog parks and all their parks. In fact, those meetings will be April 6th and the 4th of May. One of the most devastating news a parent can get is that their child has cancer. Today and tomorrow, in fact, right now, our sister station, KMTK Country 99.7 The Mountain, holding a radiothon to raise money for St. Jude Children's Hospital.
All day long, well, of course, we're asking for money. That's the primary purpose of the radiothon. But secondly, it also gives listeners a chance to get familiar with St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Even though it's physically located in Memphis, Tennessee, this hospital is a hospital without walls, and the protocols and the research that they do there is shared freely with the medical world around the globe. So the things that they're doing there are helping people around the world, including but not limited to Dornbecker, right in Portland.
The Mountain, Steve Leon, says the day will feature testimonials of children and families whose lives have been helped by the St. Jude organization. And toll-free telephone lines are open for pledges. In fact, that number is 1-800-995-5257. 1-800-995-5257 is the number to call. This is the 5th year for the KMTK Country Care St. Jude Radiothon. If you would like to donate or find out more, we have a link at kbnd.com. And we just checked a moment ago, and so far they've raised $4,291. The radiothon continues until 7 o'clock tonight and will be held from 6 to 7 tomorrow as well. 11:10 KBND Radio News Time is 5:10.